Hello everyone, this is A.T.I Draws, and I'm Joshua Haddad. I want to thank you guys for joining me again for another wonderful video, and I hope you guys and your art is going very well so far. First, before we start the video, I would like to thank you guys for giving me all the love and the care that you guys gave me last video. I do appreciate that, along with all the comments. Thank you so much again, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. So for today's video, I do want to start something new where I go through a series in which I take traditional drawings that I do and I turn them digital, I do refinements, and I make them better. So currently I'm going to take some traditional drawings that I have made, and I'm going to make them better and improve on them, and that's my goal. As we can see here, I have my wonderful drawing Spiki that I have put together, and this is a traditional turned digital artwork that I have shown you guys. Now my traditional version, as you can see here, is definitely not as bland. The background's not there, and the glasses are off, and the ears are obviously not as sculpted. But now looking at the digital version, you can see a lot more has been done towards the character to make the character more vibrant, expressive, and the mood to be set much more effectively. So again, let's go through the process. Let's go all the way back through and let's see the sketch layer, the line art layer. And here you see me clean up the lines, and I took the traditional sketch and I modified it so the glasses were better, the hands were more together, and I decided that I wanted to try something that I normally haven't done before. And that is doing some better line weighting. Some thinning in some areas, some thickness in some areas, as you see in these little pockets right here, and these little pockets right here, where areas where the thickness of clothing would naturally touch, I wanted to make sure the thickness was there, and areas that are not as bolded or as not detailed, or just side areas that should not be as thick, are very thin lines. I decided that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to incorporate this because I did want to work on my style a lot better. I happen to really love the cartoony anime style, and mixing the cartoon and anime together. I will in the future also be mixing semi-realism as I get my anatomy and my perspective done. But that's what I wanted to do with my line art, and I thought that it would be a good idea to try this now. So after this, I decided I was going to add my flats, and I set it as a reference layer. So all the other layers that I have it clipped to will obviously turn out much more easier for me to do, and things were much more together. Doing this, I decided to make Spiki's main color scheme be black and blue, as black is a very bold, dark color, and having the blue creates a very good contrast with the black, as black creates a natural contrast between colors. So I thought that was a very good idea for me to do, and I think it worked pretty well in my personal opinion. I think the eyes, the shirt, the gloves, the biker gloves, the fingernails, the lips, the eyes, those all really blend in as a secondary color for the black contrast. And we had to add the gray middle part of the glasses and the gray middle buttons here for designer purposes. Now as we add the highlight layer, we can see that that was a very stark contrast difference that I happened to do transitioning from the traditional to the digital. As I switch Spiki from having a light from the top of the head going to a dark at the tips of her hair, going from a light color at the tips of her hair darker to the ends of her hair. I thought that that would make the character much more expressive and make it a lot more better, and the blue going to black didn't sit right with me. So by adding that, I was able to make the character much more, the personality of the character and the design much more expressive towards the character and their color of blue. And I thought that that was a very smart idea of mine. For the glasses, I wanted to add a gradient like you see in many sunglasses that they have, and I thought that that was a very good thing to do. So to add a nice gradient in which the top part of the glasses were more brighter, the bottom part of the glasses transitioned to the main color, and it had a nice contrast between the two. I also decided that I was going to add the rippling effect you normally see in sunglasses when angled from a certain distance by taking the blender brush and doing little flicks to kind of give it more of a ripple. I probably should have done the ripple going on the left side, angled to the left, and then arcing it over and to the right side, angling towards the right, so it would have looked more like the ripple. But when you look back at it from a far distance like this, where the drawing is fully seen, the ripples are shown and it blends in really nice and good. And I think that that's a pretty good job well done in my personal opinion, going into doing this character and styling it. Now I decided to work on what I did wrong in the last video, and as you can see in my shading, I wanted to make sure that all the layers that needed to be shading, majority of it was done at the start, so I didn't have to worry about it later on. And that's what I did here. You can see the glasses here are shaded around, the hair is shaded, the back of the hair is shaded, the strands are shaded, and the back parts are shaded. You can see that the pockets, the front of the jacket, underneath the chest, the shirt, and any areas that would genuinely get covered up by other areas that would produce a natural shade, I went out my way to do basically the clothing, the accessories, all those things, and get those out the way so they didn't have to be worried about. On the next layer, I focused on the skin, and in there I did the bobs of the hair, I did the side of the hair, I did the neck, I did the fingers, and I just tried to add more of a 3D styled of art going into there, so it looked a lot more professional in a sense. I didn't really need to separate the layers. I could have just merged the layers together or just do it all in one layer, but that's what I did. So that's what my shading layer looks like. It's just separated between two layers, nothing too crazy. Now, to complement my shading layer, we of course must add the highlights. So going on to the highlights, we see that I added a bit more to the character than was seen on traditional. I didn't just decide to draw like a little squiggly bubble and not brighten up the actual area on the glasses. I actually tried to add a bright gradient going on to the glasses. Probably too bright, since I did just use the color white, but I did add a nice little touch right here. And of course I did the eyes. I probably did too much on her left, but on our right from the viewers eyeball here. I think I did a good job on the lips. I think that probably matches where lighting goes. Also did highlights on the nails, on all the metal right here, the metal accessories, the little buttons that they have on the jacket, and the gloves. And I did a little tiny strip right here on the ear for added highlights. I thought that definitely brought out a bit more of the character and paved way for me to add more glow effects, which is something I should have done last time I drew, but that was my first time drawing digitally, and this is my second time, so I'm able to now look at my failures and improve. And one thing I wanted to improve on was expression. I think that by adding more detail to more expressive or focus-based parts of the character, it definitely made it so that eyes are more focused around a certain area. Eyes, in my personal opinion, are one of the most key expressive areas of any artwork. When you look at an artwork or a drawing or any painting or anything, you usually see that the eyes tend to be very detailed and the facial structures in itself tend to be detailed, because the face in itself, the face and the mouth tend to give off a very, very striking expression of how the people are feeling in that personal moment. Because when the mouth is stretched, the jaw stretches, the eyes get wide. When the character is angry, the eyes are more narrow with the eyebrows, and the mouth is more frowned, and you're able to, it sculpts the character's expressions. So I think by making the eyes, which in my personal opinion are one of the more expressive points of a person, more detailed, I think that was a very good giveaway, especially in the surprised, shocked face that she has. I think the eyes were the dead giveaway going into this character design. So I decided I was going to go with that, and that's what I want to do for this character. Now going on next, I decided to add something that was not there before on her traditional drawing, and that is a well together background. One thing that was missing from my traditional piece was a background that allowed Spiki's character to be shown. Spiki herself loves riding motorcycles, and by taking away the motorcycle aspect of the character, it really limited how much of Spiki's character and personality you were able to see. So I thought it would have been best to add more to Spiki's character to allow us as the viewers to see her personality. So in doing so, I decided to go to a motorcycle dealership. And in doing that, I wanted to make it luxurious, as Spiki seems to have a designer motorcycle jacket on, and her being a biker girl, I thought that she will only look for the best in motorcycles. To ensure that the viewers saw how much of a focus she had on this, I wanted to focus on the tiles here, the red carpet, which we know about the red carpet and how it signalizes a very high quality, only the best, most popular people get to go on the red carpet. So I thought that was something to add to make it more regal. Like King's Palaces tend to have more of a carpet going into it, and more shows and stuff like that. I thought that would have been a very, very good way to express the luxuriousness of the whole dealership we had going on. Making sure the tiles were cracked in a more fancy pattern, I thought that was a good giveaway. To add another way to express the regality of the actual artwork in itself, I wanted to add the fancy guardrails that they have here, so it would allow you to see just how important she values getting a high quality motorcycle. To also show Spiki and her personality, her love of the color blue, I had to show off different motorcycles of different colors. So I went and did a background motorcycle red, put a little logo on the top of the head here, added the logo right here on the big podium where you're able to see the motorcycle and able to acknowledge its detail from a further away distance. I wanted to make sure that the background kind of wrapped around. I did remember a video a while back in which I took a reference from, well, from online, my memory, but the point stands that I did kind of sculpt the idea from remember watching in that video, in which the race car was underneath a kind of a arcing, swooping wall that kind of had a ceiling light going down and shining all around the car. So I thought that was cool to me, and I wanted to do something like that for the motorcycles that were on the podium. So I decided that I was going to have a dark base right here, going into a slightly brighter but still dark wall that arced around to this bigger area on top that had a light that shined down on the motorcycle that allowed you to see the motorcycle in this light. I probably should have added some lighting around here and fix how the lighting structure works to make it more appropriate, more professional, but I think that was a good way to express light with using minimal tools. I also decided to do a green podium as well, so you can envision how the motorcycle would look. Based on the red one and based on your idea and your creativity, you could imagine how the green one would have turned out. And so, by adding some final glows to the lights, we were able to create a very luxurious environment where Spiki is at a motorcycle dealership, walked past all the colors and came down to a color that she really liked, which we can assume she reached a motorcycle that is the color of blue that matches her and her personality. I thought that this was a great way to take the traditional drawing and make it digital and express Spiki as a character and more of a vibrant personality that she has. We are able to see her and what she enjoys and what she likes. Now, I think that this was probably a very good thing for me to do, and I think that this was fun for me, and I'll definitely be doing more traditional to digital videos in the future. If I had to change some things, I would definitely do some touches up on this area right here. And my main reason is it doesn't seem to match it with perspective. If this arcs into this rail right here and this arcs into this rail right here, the rails should have a very good contrasting arc, but this one just didn't have a deep enough arc. It made it seem like it was being pulled straight, and that's not something that you want to see from an artwork. So that was something I definitely would fix if we're going into another drawing. If I were to do something of a regal artwork, I would ensure that that's fixed, as that was something I saw recently when I looked back over it to record the video, that this was probably a bit of an issue that I should have worked on. Another thing I would like some tidying up on is around here where a lot of the glow and stuff got on the characters and just weren't as nice. I thought that those could definitely be cleaned up and touched up, and it will look a lot better. I would have fixed the lights around here. I would probably fix the luxurious signs, as I probably could have made it much more detailed while still keeping a good, decent amount of detail to it. It feels too sloppy to me, but it was definitely very detailed and put together in itself. And I would probably switch up the highlights and add more highlights and shadings to the metal buttons here to make it more put together. And that's my drawing of Spiki. I hope you guys really enjoyed today's video, and thank you guys again for the love that you guys gave me last video and the care. And for that, I do want to show you guys something cool that I learned while I was drawing this artwork, and that is this right here. When drawing the eyelashes, I noticed that the glow kind of faded in, and that came a really cool aesthetic. And I think that by doing something like this in the future, probably a video I'll create in the future of me drawing eyes and expressions, I will test out taking glow and drawing it from a darker glow to a lighter glow and adding some shading and stuff underneath to give it the appearance of more of an eyelash look while still allowing it to show a lot of detail. And I think that would be a very good addition to my future artworks that will allow it to look a lot better. But that's just what I did, and I think that was a good addition to my art, and I think that's something I deeply value doing, and I appreciate all you guys for watching. Now, if you guys enjoyed today's video, thank you so much again for watching, and if you enjoyed today's video, please make sure to like and subscribe. I thank you guys so much for taking time out your day to watch today's video, and I hope you guys learned something. I'm always trying to show off my art, how I did my art, and how I did certain things, and how I sculpted certain pieces together, so you guys are able to see it. I will make sure to include more detailed stuff, and I will include better videos in the future to help you guys out. And if you guys want any future video reference ideas or anything that you guys want me to do, please let me know down in the comments below. I do read them, and I would like to see what plans you guys have so I can incorporate them in future videos. But anyway, thank you guys for watching yet again. It's always fun to show you guys my artworks and show you guys my drawings. This is a very big passion of mine, and I hope you guys pursue your art and enjoy wonderful drawings. Thank you guys, and enjoy a wonderful day. I'll see you guys in the next video.